All right. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dallas Stevenson, and on today's podcast, we are going to talk about some banned books and their titles and what they are banned for and what they are about. So, just to dive straight in, I am going to read some of these books and see what they're about to get a better grasp and understanding on why these books were maybe banned. I did purchase 2 of these banned books today. 2 of the most popular banned books is Genderqueer, a memoir by Maya Kobabe, and a New York Times #1 bestseller, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. So to dive right in, Genderqueer is one of the most challenged books in the US today, starting from 2020 all the way to 2024. This title has been the most banned book since banned books has existed. The book is banned because of its LGBTQ plus content and sexually explicit images of Maya Kobabe evolving from child to young adult. So since it is a memoir, it's pretty personal to the author who wrote it. They are non-binary and went to a college for Master of Fine Arts in comics, and then they wrote this comic book, and obviously they are very proud about it, and it's a pretty harsh thing to come out about such a scary topic nowadays. And after they come together and write this book and finally build up the nerve, and it's published, for it to be challenged the most, I could see why that's so frustrating and why that's so hard. But the book is mainly a comic. It's a pretty easy read. It's a beautiful comic. They did very well on the artistic side, and the storytelling side. I have started to read it, and it starts at the age of 2. They are 2 years old, and it just kind of talks about the transition of gender and finding out, who they are, going from girl not fitting in school very well to, kind of learning some more about themselves and seeing where they fit in school and what they want to be, and coming out to their friends. It is very educational and holds very good purpose. I think it's a very well written comic and a very good written memoir. And I mean, it is educational, and I feel like people should know these things going into middle and high school, and that is when people would find these things out about themselves and learn more about their gender. So I do think this is very important to be in public places. The Perks of Being a Wallflower was tried for trauma, drug use, and LGBTQ plus content as well. By elementary school in 5th grade, you should be able to read this book. If it is taken out for drug use, in elementary school, you have to learn by 5th grade. You have to take a drug course, basically learning, why you shouldn't do drugs and what drugs are and what drug is what and what it does. And if we can know that by 5th grade, before we're even teenagers, then I think it is appropriate that we read this book. And everyone has trauma, and I think it can be very educational to know these things and know what trauma is like, so that young people can support each other in those situations. And LGBTQ plus, like I said, I think it's very educational to know those terms and that vocabulary and know what it's about so that you don't offend anyone when you move up in age and in school. And so you can be there for people when they have trouble with these things. The Perks of Being a Wallflower is about a shy freshman named Charlie, and he is befriended by two very outgoing senior students. While Charlie is evolving through adolescence to adulthood, kind of talks about, things that he does when he's in school, when he makes these friends, talks about sexuality and all those things I mentioned before, which is why the topic was banned in the first place. And the third book that is most tried is The Bluest Eye. It was tried for being sexually explicit, unsuited for age, and controversial issues, which a lot of books are controversial, so I don't really see how this could get a book taken out of a library. But this was published in 1970 and is the first novel written by Toni Morrison. The novel takes place in Ohio and tells the story of a young African-American girl named Bucola who grew up following the Great Depression. A lot of stories and books about young African-American girls and boys either going through sexual adolescence to adulthood and talking about that, or going through hard times like the Great Depression or racism. A lot of those titles are tried in public schools, which I find so fascinating. So going back to my questions, why ban books in public schools and not libraries? I think those books are banned because in public schools you can get them for free, walk in, walk out without a parent's or guardian's approval. And in public bookstores, your parents have to go there with you and you have to purchase it to be able to read it. And kids don't have money on their own, obviously, without their parents. So I think that is why that's more of what we see. Would I let my kids read these books? Absolutely. I would let, by the age of middle school, my kids read all three of these books that are tried and challenged. Are banned books more political than we think? I think absolutely. These banned books are more political and there seems to be something off about the books that are banned and chosen to be challenged. And I think it's more political than we think just because of their titles and the way that it comes off. Thank you for listening, and that is all.